How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast. We're going to continue with our top fives. This is going to be the class of 2025 offensive tackles. I'm going to jump right into it and show that we used a new criteria list that we base all of our player evaluations off of. You know, we have our 10-point categories, all of it adding up to 100 in total, but the 10-point categories being frame, versatility, pass protection, run blocking, contact, meaning head, shoulder positioning, initiating contact, how he, hits, and strength are 5-point categories. Hands, drop step, reaction time, play recognition, finishing blocking, making it to the second level is what that one kind of means. Picking up blitzes, first step, agility, and his plant step. Now, looking at all of these, we use these to break down each and every player. We do very many players. These are our top five. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and drop it right into our number 5 class of 2025. Eastern Michigan commit, 6'7", 265 out of Erie High School. It's Cole Powell. I think he's a dominant player. I actually had him as my number 4 guy, not my number 5. But everyone else, my grade for Cole Powell being a 77.8, Simon's being a 79.8, and Kodey's being a 79.3, give him a cumulative score of 78.966 repeating. Looking at it all, Simon has to say that Powell is a prospect with some serious potential if, and he put that in capitals, he can fill out. I like his wingspan and the potential that's present. His athleticism is solid, and I think that he moves well for his size. But I do wonder how good of a fit, how good that will be if he puts on some weight. I like how the skills in the run and pass blocking, run blocking wise, he gets to the next level well. But do I think he could get a little stronger? Yes, I do. Now, I have to completely agree. I think that getting to the second level is a strength of this guy. Looking at him as the statistic-wise, his ability to get to the second level, I have it at a 4, which is a very solid rate. I think that he could easily work on that in college and get to that next step. Kodey says finish his blocks. Once he is rolling, he keeps going. He gets to the second level pretty well, or will just straight up block you 20 yards downfield. 110%. That's just how it is. Going on with what Kodey has to say, just a brute who is set to kill. Hand placement in the run game and contact are both great. Pass pro footwork is a little erratic and shaky. Sticks with his guys in pass pro, but kick steps don't really impress me. Creating depth is something that he could work on. I think that for me, more than creating depth, I think he needs to attack the ball, and by that I mean attack the defender, because by attacking your defender you're able to do a little bit better of a kick step, and I think that is huge and what is needed for this guy. But I think definitely at Eastern Michigan, he's already an Eastern Michigan commit. I think that he will be able to step to that next level and take a redshirt year and be able to play with probably anybody year 2 if he just puts on a little size, like Simon says. Being 265 at 6'7" is a little bit light. I mean, he is a high school. He has some time to fill out, and he can do a lot of different things. Hopefully he gains a little size. Looking in some of our statistics here, some of the highest up statistics for Simon is an 8.3 frame, 8.5 on contact, 8.2 on strength, 4 on agility, and 4 on reaction time. His lows being picking up blitzes at a 3.9 and a 3.8 in his drop step. I definitely think his drop step is somewhere that could use some work as well. Looking at Kodey's, his tops, are strength, first step, run blocking. I definitely think that's something. His frame is an 8.2 as well. All of those being 8.2 or higher. A 4.3, which equivalates basically in a 10-point category to a 4.6, or an 8.6, in first step. Again, picking up blitzes, reaction time, and drop step being the lowest at a 3.2, 3.5, and a 3.95, respectively. Looking at it all, I think that he could easily improve on all of these skills, and come a year or two from now, if we evaluate him again, he could probably beat every single score he has on here and be a better blocker and an overall probably a top 1 guy in the state if it was that. But as of right now, our number 5 guy, Eastern Michigan commit from Erie High School, Cole Powell. Now, looking at our next guy on this list, the number 4 recruit in the class of 2025, we have Deontay Johnson out of Pine Creek, 6'5", 310. I'm going to go ahead and just break it down to, I think that he's a very strong blocker with a great first step. He's very agile for his size, but he gives up on plays when he moves to the second level. That's something that could very easily be fixed, and I think that in college they will fix this for him. I say he gets focused on the person in front of him just a bit too much. Even though he has him beat, the guy could be falling over, and he's finishing the block by laying on him instead of finish the block and go get the next guy because his running back's not even by him because he's that fast. I think that he needs a red shirt, and he could easily dominate probably second year. Now, going to what Simon has to say about him, he has always had the size and athletic build to play at the next level, but was a bit raw. In his senior year, he's gotten better at refining those skills as a pass blocker and kick step. It shows as he is a solid pass blocker, and no one has flashed that blend of speed and power needed to combat pass rushers. I am concerned that he hasn't faced pass rushers really with a bag, so his raw abilities have suffocated as of now. He needs to tweak his footwork and hand placement to be very sound. As far as run blocking goes, he is a solid run blocker, but I do wish he got to the second level and third levels faster, and I think he does discard defenders as fast as he could. Now, looking at what Simon's saying, I 100% agree. Just to, reiterate here, he is a very solid blocker. Hand placement, feet placement, it could be a little bit better. But going in to that second and third level, reaching those linebackers to safeties, those type of plays, he just doesn't do because he doesn't discard the defender fast enough. That's a great way for Simon to put it. Overall, Simon also says he needs to get a little bit more explosive. Kodey then goes on to say, creates decent depth on his kick step. Plant maybe isn't as strong as I would hope, but he finishes blocks very well. He is pretty agile and fast. He doesn't peel as much as I'd like to. Will block in any direction of the play. I'm not sure that's technique thing or strength issue, but either way, not great. His follow-up on his plant step is a little concerning. Pass pro is not great. Now, looking at Kodey's here, for him, just looking at some of his stats on our player here, Deontay Johnson, his strengths is his frame, his pass protection, his run blocking still an 8.1, and his pass protection's an 8. 8.4 on strength, and contact is an 8.2. His lows are a 3.9 in blitz pickup, a 3.7 in first step, and a 3.7 in plant step. Now, looking at all these, I have to agree with Kodey. I think that discarding the fact that he is so big, he should be stronger. It might be a little bit of a strength issue, but regardless of a strength issue, I think that he's an explosive player that could and will play at the next level. Looking at where he's going to play college, I'm not exactly sure what he has going as of now, but I definitely think he could play on the D1 level with his size and everything of that nature. It would be low FCS to, Big Sky type of guy. But I think that a good fit for him would be like, UNC Bears, that type of fit, maybe a year or two over there and then transfer to a bigger school. Other than that, if he went D2, it's not a bad thing for him. But I think that, he's kind of a steal on that D2 level. So, without any drop of a step here, our number 4 guy in the class of 2025, Deontay Johnson, 6'5", 310 from Pine Creek. Coming up next, we got number 3. Now let's jump straight into it. Our halfway point, the number 3 guy in the class of 2025, Andrias Guillory. I am sorry if I mispronounced that name. Out of Green Mountain, 6'5", 280. I want to go ahead and just start this off with very well coached and a strong lineman that shows great footwork and has a high IQ when it comes to making plays. His versatility is something I'm very, very, very fond of, and he has great strength, and he is currently on the lighter side, being, only 280 pounds for his position. I think that he does an amazing job of getting to the second level. Now, Simon has to say, multi-year varsity starter who has been doing it since his sophomore year. He has contributed to one of the most dominant lines in football the last couple of years. And they have been able to be productive the last 3 years because of excellence, despite running different systems from junior to senior year. He's a great run blocker who finishes blocks and gets to the next level. I will say that he does miss blocks every now and then, and I don't think it's a physical mistake as much as it's just IDing the wrong guy, picking up the wrong player to block in a blitz situation. I think he's an FCS guy, but I don't know if he will get the love considering the one real year of playing in the passing, like a pass-first offense. I have to agree. The fact that this year over there at Green Mountain, shout out them switching up their system, going into a pass-free offense is something that I think really helps get guys to that next level. I think he is a D1 guy. Nonetheless, but I don't know if he'll get the love. He might have to go D2. With that being said, he could easily dominate in the D2 probably year 1, transfer out, and see where he does. Kodey says his hands are strong but not always engaged. I like his kick step and his plant step is good. He makes really good reads, and pass protection reaction time is solid, but nothing to write him out about. He does a good job picking up blitzes. Contact is not super clean. Kodey kind of goes against what I think. I don't think he's that good of a, blitz pickup guy. Me saying that, I have his blitz pickup here at a 3.8, and I still think that that's probably the lowest I have on his whole list. 8.3 in frame, pass protection's an 8.6, 8.8 in run blocking, 8.8 in strength, 8.5 in contact. 3.6 in drop step. That's something I kind of dinged him on. But, this guy is dominant. Going over his overall score, Simon gave him an 84.65. I gave him an 84.45. Kodey gave him an 81.1, giving him a cumulative score of 83.4, making him the highest rated so far because the guys behind him hadn't even capped the 80 mark yet. That being said, I think that this guy is going to be a dominant player at the next level, and I really would like to see what he could do at the next level. I want him to definitely go ahead and hit us up and check in here in a few years and let us know what you're doing. I do see that he had his first offer 2 days ago for the Division I level, that is, being the UNC Bears. For Kodey and them, I will say SCO Bears. And that being said, I think this is a great spot for him. He could really do a lot out there at UNC, being able to just dominate. And I think that a D1 that of this caliber, is kind of a good spot to start and a good spot for him to play. Maybe transfer out after a few years, but I think a redshirt year, first year, get him in that weight room and get him just locked in, dialed up, and ready to hit somebody. This guy being Andrias, again, if I mispronounced your last name, I'm sorry, Guillory out of Green Mountain, 6'5", 280, number 3 in the state. Coming up next is number 2. Let's see. Speaking of number 2 in the state, we're going to talk about 2025 class Nate Ceschin out of Fossil Ridge, 6'5", 285. Simon says, I really like him at guard, and that's where he probably play on the next level. But he is a very serviceable D1 left tackle, in my opinion. The thing I really like about him is his tools to hand fight and battle with some of the quicker pass rushers while having more than enough strength to hold his own. I will say there is one play against Regis. I think that pass rusher got a step on him, and his hand placement almost put him in a dangerous spot for a holding call. But he was able to stay with him and toss up and then call an 80-20 hold call. He is versatile, and I think that he can get even stronger. The sky's the limit for Ceschin, whose versatility I love. He should be a D1 guy and carry on the Fossil Ridge legacy of great linemen. I say good size, very strong, great play recognition, strong contact player. He works with his hands, and he fights like nobody's business. I have to 100% go back on what I'm saying here. When he fights like nobody's business, he is a very strong guy. I've seen him live, as we talked about on the interior tackles list and stuff with him. He is a very, very solid tackle and guard. Looking at Nate Ceschin, some of the scores that Kodey gave him, he gave him a 9 in versatility, being able to play inside and out. An 8.3 on frame because he is a bit light at the 285 range. His pass protection being an 8.6, an 8.1 run blocking, a 4 in hands, a 4.1 blitz pickup, an 8.1 in contact, an 8.8 in strength, 4.3 in 4.3 in plant step. His lowest score for Kodey was looks like it's here at a 3.85 in agility and a 3.85 in play recognition. That's saying something. Kodey gave him a cumulative score of an 83.25. For me, I gave him a cumulative score of an 84.5. I mean, his lowest score on my list didn't drop below a 4. That's saying something. And it was a 4.1 in plant step. And I think that kind of shows what type of player he is, just getting it done time and time again, never ending the fight. I think that he could easily play on the D1 level, and I think that he is never not in the right position. He just makes a few minor mistakes with, head placement and different stuff like that. With that being said, he does have a few, Division I offers, looking at Western Colorado, being D2-ish. But UNC, he says, blessed to receive an offer to play football for the UNC Bears. And again, another UNC great pickup. These guys are killing it this year, and I have to say shout out to UNC on that. If they land him, I think they're getting a prospect that should play at a higher level. He personally, to me, screams a higher level D1. Maybe not FBS, but a higher level FCS at the max. I have to say, this guy's killing it, and he needs to keep killing it coming into this next level. But with all of that being said, our number 2 offensive tackle in the class of 2025 is the Fossil Ridge 6'5", 285 Nate Ceschin. Great work, and coming up soon, we'll see who number 1 is. Now let's talk some honorable mentions here before we get into our number 1 guy. We have, Slater Warren, Justice Dickerson, Alex Zeichman, Jeremio, I am sorry if I butchered that, Parker Doherty. Those are all guys out there that just came in just a hair short of our top 5 list. Maddox Richardson would be the next guy with a 78.3. Cole Powell having that 78.96. You can see there's only roughly about a 0.6 difference between the two of them. And that's where these new overall scores are just so good for us, because they can break down to the 0.4 of a point and allow somebody to make it over another person. That being said, great work this year. All those guys are going to go on to play at the next level and just keep dominating. Hit us up if anybody has any questions or needs any help. Thank you there. Let's go over our top 5. Starting at the bottom, number 5, Cole Powell with a cumulative score of 78.966666 repeating. Devontae Johnson with a 79.3833 repeating. Then we jump just a hair to Andrias Guillory. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it, for an 83.4. And then this is where you see a pretty close jump to an 84.4 at Nate Ceschin. All of these guys obviously did it right and made it onto this list. We're going to look at our number one guy now. His total cumulative score is an 85.766 repeating, and that is Court Towns out of Palmer Ridge High School, 6'4", 302 pounds. I got to say it, fast feet and a good frame pretty well. Moving for 300 pounds, great pass protection, solid hand fighter. He could definitely work on his drop step and blitz pickup, but he also plays guard, bouncing out of in and out of two positions. It's probably hard to blame him on this. Simon says he plays all over. His versatility player, who I think is a D1 talent, almost regular regardless of where he plays. His athleticism and violence in the trenches separates him from other linemen. With his frame, he is a very skilled run blocker who can be plugged in anywhere on the O-line. As a pass blocker, I believe he is serviceable and can definitely develop. That's a little bit more. Either way, I think he's a D1 talent and a good rotational guy with some refinement. I have to agree with Simon. I think D1 is the only way that this guy can, play. He is a D1 guy through and through. And, Palmer Ridge, again, making another great lineman. He is in and out of the weight room, and you can see it. It shows here on Simon's, 8.8 strength, contact at an 8.7, pass protection 8.2, 8.6 run blocking, frame is an 8.7, 9 in versatility, 86.4 is Simon's overall score for this guy. He is a absolute dominant blocker. Looking at Kodey at an 85.4, 8.9 strength, 8.9 contact, 8.3 frame, 9 versatility, pass blocking's an 8, run blocking's an 8.5. There's not a single one on Kodey's list. And I think he is the only guy on Kodey's list that doesn't have one drop below a 4. I mean, his lowest being first step and plant step at a 4.1, hands and drop step as well as a 4.1. That just shows how highly we think of Court Towns. And looking at him on my list, I have him at an 85.5 with everything being over a 4. The only thing being close to the lower end of 4 is a 4.1 in picking up blitzes. I think picking up blitzes is something that he can work on the next level very, very easily. He is going to be a very dominant guy overall. 9 in versatility, playing inside or out. I think that I like him better at tackle because of his size and dominance. I think that if he went in deciding, being a little shorter at 6'4", that he wanted to play guard, I think that he would be probably a year 2 guy. I think he could be a year 1 guy on the next level. But that is always, up for consideration between the two. But with that being said, our number 1 guy in the class of 2025 is Court Towns out of Palmer Ridge High School. Now, starting from number 5, going to number 1, we're going Cole Powell, number 5. Number 4 is Devontae Johnson. Number 3, Andrias Guillory. Number 2, Nate Ceschin. Number 1, who you just heard about, Court Towns. Thank you so much. You're listening to the Playmakers Corner. Peace.
Mason, way to crush this recap as well as all of your grades that you've done through the top 5 so far. So go ahead and double back, listeners, if you have not heard those. You can listen to any of these episodes anywhere you listen to podcasts, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, etc., etc. We also upload them to YouTube. No matter where you are, make sure that you are following and turning on notifications, subscribe, whatever the method is on that platform. Go ahead and do that so that way you get notifications anytime we release a new episode here. In addition to that, we have plenty of content coming up as far as women's college flag football coverage. We're also revamping the way that we cover Colorado tackle football with more of a player emphasis that we are very, very excited to share with you. And we have plenty of girls flag football content coming out here from the Colorado scene as well. So we're very excited for all of those opportunities. And we also share graphics as well as spotlight athletes on our social medias, whether that's Twitter/X at Playmaker Corner, or whether that's Instagram, Facebook, As for now, TikTok at Playmakers Corner. We enjoy so much sharing all this information with y'all and sharing this passion for the beautiful game of football. I am just the guy who chipped in here at the end with our little plug, but shout out Mason Austin, the host of this episode, who held it down.